Hello everyone, we're back with another tutorial of Selenium. Today we are going to cover Selenium Grid. So what are we going to learn in today's session? Why, what, building a Selenium Grid, and hands-on. So basically if you see these four circles, why as in why Selenium Grid, what is Selenium Grid, how to build a Selenium Grid, and of course hands-on. Why use Selenium Grid? So you can see a picture here. This guy is thinking, how can I reduce the time for completion of a large test suite? I need a tool to run test cases in parallel. If I could run my test all at once in parallel. So first he's thinking about how he can run his test cases in parallel so that he just reduces the time of running all the test cases in his test suite. Now he thinks, how is it possible? How can I run these test cases in parallel? So the solution is Selenium Grid. Now, it's not just about running test cases in parallel, there's more to it. Why? In one place, why using Selenium Grid? Yes, of course, Selenium will let us run our test cases in parallel, so it'll save a lot of time as well. Now, that's the main thing why anybody would use Selenium Grid. The next thing is, that let's say you've created a new web application, right? Now you're going to launch a web application. You would want that all your users, whether they are using a Mac system, whether they are using any version of Windows, or they're using an Ubuntu system or a Linux system or any kind of browser for that matter, they should be capable of running every function on your web application without any issue. That's your requirement. Now to do that test, whether your application is working fine or not on all platforms, Selenium Grid is the solution. Because here we will be working with different environments, as in different systems with different environments. When I say different environments, I basically mean different operating system, different browsers, different languages, whatever you want to have. But we'll be having different environments and we'll be running test cases. If you want parallelly, then parallel. And if you want to execute a test case only on a particular system having a certain configuration, then also you can run your test cases. So what is Selenium Grid? Let's understand Selenium Grid nicely. I'll just go through the slide first, then I'll explain it. Allows us to execute test script on different machines at the same time. Now you won't understand until you get to know what does Selenium Grid comprise of. So this line is saying it will let us test script on different machines at the same time. Then of course, if I'm saying at the same time, that means on different environments, I need to run test cases parallelly. Execution is possible on different machines with different browsers, same browser with different version as well. It saves a lot of time and effort for execution. That's obvious. If I'm able to run my test cases parallelly on different machines, then I'm saving a lot of time. It consists of a hub and multiple nodes. Now that's the point to understand. Hub works as a central point controlling all the nodes. Nodes are actual machines on which execution is done. So if you read this line, this point, you'll get to know that hub and node are actually the systems. And these systems will comprise of Selenium Grid. Hub will be your parent PC, which will be controlling all the child systems. And your child systems are nothing but nodes. So if you look at this diagram, this is how hub works. Okay? Now understand it. Here you've got four systems. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, 5, not 4. Okay, 4 nodes. I'll just use my spotlight. So this is hub, one system, second, third, fourth, and fifth. Now my entire grid consists of 5 systems, wherein this is one system, which is hub. It is controlling these 4 nodes. Let's say this is node 1, node 2, node 3, node 4. Now, as I said, you can run test cases on different environments. You can see that node 1 is using or has Ubuntu as its operating system and is using Firefox. you can see Node 2 is an Internet Explorer working on Windows. Node 3 is a Safari on Mac, and Node 4 is Android. Don't get confused, guys. We're not talking about mobile applications. We're talking about applications running on mobile, okay? You cannot test mobile applications using Selenium. Okay, now you can see that this line shows that test cases are written here. That means actually all the entire scripting will be done at this end, and the execution will happen on these nodes. That's the reason we've specified browsers here, because execution happens on browser, right? However, we'll be doing all the coding on this hub, and then from this hub we'll be calling these different systems. Now it's your choice, my choice, whether I want to call all these systems parallelly or I want to call a particular system, okay, depending on my need. Okay, let's go to the next slide now. These are the versions of Selenium Grid. Requires Apache Ant installation, which is Selenium 1. Does not need Apache Ant installation. Has its own remote control bundled with Selenium Server jar file. Now earlier with Selenium 1, you can relate it to Selenium 1 as well. You can relate Selenium Grid 1 with Selenium 1. So in Selenium 1, we had remote control, right? Here we needed Apache's Ant installation to run Grid. Whereas here in Selenium 2, what I need to run Grid is only Selenium Server standalone jar. Alright? And this can support RC commands. Selenium Grid 2 can support both RC and WebDriver scripts. In Selenium Grid 1, you can automate one browser per remote control. In Selenium Grid 2, you can automate up to 5 browsers. Alright, so these are the difference in the two versions of Selenium Grid. Hub and Node. I'll just go through the points first. Hub is a central point where you load your tests. Now, I've already explained this point. Hub is a machine wherein you'll write all your scripts. So if this point is saying where you load your test, it means that all your test scripts will be written here. Only one hub in a grid. So in this entire grid system, we'll have one hub and multiple nodes. Launched only on a single machine, say a computer. Now, if you want to launch a hub, obviously this entire configuration consists of systems. So you can launch this only on a single machine, let's say a computer. Node. Selenium instances that will execute the tests. Okay. Now when it says execute the tests, this basically means all the execution, as in the running of test cases, it will happen here on these machines. Alright, you'll see a browser coming up and then all the test case steps working on your browser. One or more nodes in a grid. So it's your choice whether you want to have one node or multiple nodes. Launched on multiple machines with different platforms and browsers. So you can choose to have multiple machines with different platform. Each machine can have a different operating system, can work with different browsers also. Okay, building a Selenium Grid. I hope you've understood the outer architecture of hub and node. Alright, so we've got multiple systems here. We've got hub, which is the parent PC, and we've got nodes, which are the child systems, right? Till now, I've been saying that you'll be writing your test scripts on your hub, and then all the execution will happen on your nodes. How? So I said your hub will be giving the instructions. Now, how can any machine instruct another machine until and unless both of them know about each other? So that is what we'll be doing here. We'll be doing some configuration and we'll be running a few commands to do that configuration, so that your hub nodes, which all nodes have been registered to hub, and even the nodes should know that who is our parent system, from whom are we going to take the command, right? So these are the two commands. Now, how do you run these commands? To run these commands, we need a command prompt, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up my command prompt. Now see guys, you need to understand one thing before I do anything further. you have to understand this point that grid is all about having different systems. This is a live, sorry, that's not a live class. Now, obviously, you're going through this recording. Now, in live classes also, if it is an online live class, I can demonstrate grid just through my system, right? So I'll be considering my system as hub and also as node. I'll tell you what to do on your systems, okay? Don't worry about that. But here I'll be considering my system as hub and also as node, okay? So right now I'm trying to create my system as the hub system, okay? The parent system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come out of this directory structure. I'll tell you the reason. cd ... is a command to come out of the current directory structure. Okay. Now you can see that I have come to C. Now why have I come to C? Because what I've done is, and what is suggested is, you place your Selenium server standalone.jar file, okay, at a particular location on all your machines so that you know where this jar is present. So that's a requirement, okay? If you don't know, that's a prerequisite. I'll just write down on my notepad. That's a prerequisite, okay? What is the prerequisite? Prerequisite is to have your Selenium server standalone file handy with you. So where do we need? On your hub and all your nodes. Okay, what is suggested? It is suggested that you place this jar at the same location. When I say same location, I mean to say same directory structure. Create a folder in particular, anywhere where you want, and follow the same thing on other systems as well, okay? On all the systems. So if I'm saying that you're working with, or you think that you want to work with two systems, so what you can do is, you can have one hub as your system as your hub and create your system as node 1 and borrow another system from your friend or spouse or anybody, okay, and make that system as node 2. All right. Now place Selenium server standalone at same location everywhere. So where have I placed it? I've created this folder. I'll just open it wide. I've created this folder in C drive, Selenium. And here I have placed my Selenium server standalone. So I'll quickly show you. If you see here, I have created this folder Selenium, and in here I have placed this server standalone file. Now I want you to do the same thing on all your systems, including all the nodes, hub and all the nodes, because that's how you're going to configure your grid. Okay, now this is there. I have to run my jar and assign the role of hub to my system. So the command that I'm going to write is not difficult at all to remember. Understand like this: Java, I need java-jar command to run this jar. Okay. And what is my jar name? Selenium server standalone. So I'll just write SELE because that's the only jar present here, and I'll press tab. Okay. It'll pick up the entire name automatically. Now I want to specify the role. So the option is -role, and the role is of hub. So that's what I'm going to write here. That's it. It's very easy to remember. And press enter. What did you see? Did you see launching Selenium Grid Hub? Okay. And if you can see here, Selenium Grid Hub is up and running. That means I've already started my hub with this simple command. Selenium Grid is not difficult at all. All right. It's only perception. People think it's difficult. No, it's not difficult at all. All right. My grid, my hub is up and running. The next thing I want to do is start the node. So like I said, you can choose to have one node on the same system and node 2 by having another system. All right. So since I've got only my PC here to demonstrate this, I'm going to open another command prompt. Okay. I'll just shift it here. All right. So that you can see both of them. I will again come out of this folder so that, I go to the same folder Selenium, because here on node as well, we need to go at the same location. Why? Because we've placed the jars here. Now Java hyphen jar. Okay, Java hyphen jar, Selenium, just press tab. This time your role is of a node, right? Because that's your node. So it's very easy. Java hyphen jar and jar name to run your jar. Then you need to assign the role. So hyphen role is the command to assign the role. Node is the option because here you're working with the node. Okay. Now, since this is a node, every node needs to know which is the hub. So hyphen hub. Okay. Now come back to this window and look at this carefully. Okay. Node should register to this location. Node should register to http://192.168.1.2:4444/grid/register. My hub has already told me where to register the nodes. So what you can do is just copy paste this. If you can't remember, just copy paste it. Okay, and just go here to this window, space, and paste er/register. All right. Now :4444, you can see that your hub is running on 4444. So 4444 is the default port for running your hub. All right. Now there's one more thing I want you to understand before I execute this command, guys. Listen to me carefully. Now, if I take you back to Eclipse, okay, let me open any file. So let's say I'm opening day 1. All right. Only look at these 2 lines. Do you agree that that's the first thing that we do whenever we write a script? To instantiate a browser driver. Until and unless we instantiate a browser driver, we can't work with the browser. And before instantiating our driver, all right, you set the system property. Why do you set this system property? So if you've seen my other tutorials, if you've gone through my other tutorials, I've already explained this. You need something so that the instructions you're sending through this script is understood by your browser. Otherwise, how will your browser understand that I need to find this element? So for that, your driver is responsible. And you're already setting this through this line. So this exe is nothing but a server. We don't want to again go back, into the details, into the intricacies that what happens at the back end. So there's the entire protocol. Okay, using this protocol, we start this driver and then your browser becomes capable enough to take the instructions which you send through your script. So just understand this much. Now, if I have to do this, where am I doing it? I'm doing it on the system where I'm writing this script, right? That's where your browser will open up, right? Chrome or Firefox, where will it open? It'll open on this system only. But in Grid, where is your browser going to open? Your browser is going to get opened up on your node, which is a different system. Now, isn't it your responsibility to do this setting on the node as well? Otherwise, if you don't download your drivers on your nodes, how will your browser understand the instructions that you send through the script here on your hub? So what I'm going to do on this node is I'm going to add something more to it. So I'll just go back, okay, before hyphen jar. So I'm going to say -d. -d is an option to do this setting. So I'll say WebDriver.Chrome.driver equals. So after equals, I need to place where my browser driver is. So I'll go to D drive, 𝐂𝐞-𝐻, Selenium, and here's my browser driver. Okay, I'll just copy this location first of all. Then I'll right click and paste, and then I'll again put a slash and I'll say Chrome driver. I'll just check the spelling also, CHROMEDRIVER.exe and space. So by putting in this command, you have actually specified that, look, I have already set the property here. So my browser is ready, my Chrome is ready to take the instructions, and then press enter. Before I press enter, I'd like just to open up this as well. Enter. Look at both of them carefully. If you can see here, the last line says the node is registered to the hub and ready to use. And the second last line was registering the nodes to this hub. Okay, it has started polling your hub for instructions. Now, if you see here, after this line, Selenium Grid is up and running. Can you see here? You've got another line which says registered a node. http://192.168.1.2. Now these IP addresses are same, guys, because I am running hub and node on the same system. But with you, when you will do so, you won't get the IP address of your hub, you will get the IP address of your node. And 5555 is the port that it has chosen to run your node 1. Now you can do and run the same command on all your nodes. Just make sure that if you want to use any other browser, please, using the same command -d, okay, set the other browser settings also, system setting also. Okay, like I've done this for Chrome, you can also do it for -d WebDriver.𝐸Code.driver for your Firefox. And give the location where your 𝐸Code.driver.exe is present. Alright, now this is done. Now, if you look at this, you can't combine two systems until and unless your firewall settings are off. That's a star point. Okay, important point. If you are creating a grid, please switch off your firewall settings. Otherwise, you will not be able to create grid. You will keep on getting issues. So I have already created my grid just by running a few simple commands. Let's go back to the slideshow. Look here. I didn't even take you through the slide for the reason because the commands were easy. And to just learn them easily, I went there to the command prompt and ran the commands. Look here. Java-jar this -role hub. Okay. That's 2.xx version, but latest is 3, so use 3, okay? And this one, Java-jar Selenium Server Standalone -role node -hub. Now you don't need to worry about remembering 4444/grid/register because automatically when you work with your hub, in the end it tells you that at which location or which IP you have to register your nodes to, right? So you don't even have to remember this. Just remember that hub takes 4444 as the default port. All right. Configuring Selenium Grid. So you've seen this already. That's the default configuration. Simply specify -role hub to the Selenium server. This says use the -port option for changing the port used by the hub. 4444 is the default port. Just in case you want to change. All right. How do you do that? Hub -port and then give the port also. Use the command netstat-a. Why? To get your ports, alright? Work on all supported systems, Unix, Linux, Mac, and Windows. So this command will work for you. That's very easy configuration. Okay, now running tests using grid. So I'll just go through this and then we'll see what else is left here. In Selenium RC, which you must all be knowing that it's deprecated. So I guess, in future, nobody would be using this line. In fact, in present also, nobody would be using this line. Selenium is equal to new default Selenium, and then this entire thing. So we are not going to work with this. We're going to work with this with Selenium WebDriver. Now guys, before I take you through this slide again, I'd like to go back to my Eclipse and make you understand a few things. Here, you have to give certain commands from your hub and the execution will happen on your node. Now, on which node do I want to run my test case? Isn't it your responsibility to specify that in your script? So obviously, there are few requirements here. If you want to give instruction to your nodes, you need to know the IP address of your node, right? Now, you also should specify that the system, Okay, the system is going to use which browser, and you can also specify that what is your operating system. Okay, that's one thing. Another important thing is, till now you were instantiating your Chrome driver, your Firefox driver, your Internet Explorer driver, your Safari driver. Why? Because your browsers were available on your system. This time you're sending the request to a remote system. So how will you invoke the driver on the remote system? This time you won't be using Chrome or IE or Internet Explorer or Firefox or Safari or anything. This time you'll be using remote driver. Okay? Remote web driver. So I'll tell you now, we are all set to write the script. So I'll again take you back here. So if you look at the commands, we're using this desired capabilities thing. This is a class, guys, which will let you set your desired capabilities. Just understand the name also. Okay? Which capabilities do you desire of? How do you want to set them? So if you see here in the first line, I'm setting through desired capability. I'm setting my browser. And then I'm sending this capability here in the remote web driver. So this time it is no more a Chrome driver or a Firefox driver. It's a new remote web driver. Can you all see that? It's a new remote web driver. And the new remote web driver, I'm passing a URL. Why am I passing a URL? On which remote system do you want to run your or invoke your web drivers? You need to specify that IP address, no? So that's the IP address, okay? And then the capability. Okay? So taking help of whatever I have told you, we'll write a few classes. So what I want to do here is, like I've always done, I'm going to create another package here. And I'll name it as grid, just grid. Okay, finish. In here, I'm first of all going to write a small class. I'll say test grid. Okay, with a main function, and finish. So I'm going to write down some piece of code. Pay attention here and have patience. You'll understand what I'm writing. So what did I tell you? You need to specify the address of your node. So what do you think we need? First of all, we need our web driver, right? So let's say WebDriver, Control-Shift-O, okay, Control-Save. The next thing we need is, I'll name it as node URL, okay? I want to specify a node URL. Now, I'm not going to create any separate function. I'll do the entire thing within the main function. Okay? So what do you need now? You need to specify your node URL. So you will say node URL equals. Now, what should be your node URL? Whatever you can see here. Okay? Did you see which IP address got registered here? You don't even have to do netstat -a or anything. You can just see it here. So I'm going to just copy this. Okay, I'll go back. All right, so Control V, and it has to be in double quotes. Now, when I specify node URL, okay, I'll have to make it static, guys, for the reason that I'm working in a static block, and I can specify this also static. There's no harm in this particular script because anyway I have to specify the node URL just once in this script and even the driver. So it's absolutely fine to declare these variables as static. Okay, now other than this 192.168.1.2:5555, which is the port, this is the option that you want to specify, that you have to specify in your script. Okay, that's done. I'm almost done. Now you saw a line called desired capabilities there. Just press Control space when you write desired so that you see what desired capabilities is. And let's say I'll say capabilities is equal to. Now I am working on Chrome. So I'll say desired capabilities, control space, that's a class, okay, dot, I'll specify. So if you can see here, I'll just go back. You have got all the options: Android, Chrome, Edge, Firefox, HTML unit, HTML unit with JS, Internet Explorer, blah, 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 Opera, Blink, I mean, all kinds of browser capabilities. So I want to choose Chrome here. Okay, that's done. I'm working step by step, whatever I've explained till now. Now I said you can also, kind of do this thing, dot, set browser name. Okay, specify the browser name. So your browser name is Chrome, so you can specify that here. Just write Chrome here. Okay. All right. You can also set your capability. Just press Control space dot set platform. Okay, so your platform is, how do you specify the platform? You have to write this platform. Just press Control space. Okay. Why do I press Control space? So that you get the auto detection of the classes or the interfaces, and it'll automatically take that. Okay, if you can see here, we've got this class in org.openqa.selenium. Now I want to choose platform as something that I want to work with. Here I'm working with my system. My system has Windows 7. So I'm going to choose option that is going to give me Windows 7. So if you see here, we've got Win 10, 881 and Windows. Now this actually is Windows 7. Okay. Now that's done. I've set my desired capabilities. I've set the browser name. I have set the platform. The only thing left is that I have to now invoke the browser driver. But how do I do that? Here you will say driver is equal to new remote. Okay, just write remote, control space. Okay, choose remote WebDriver. All right. Now, if you can see here, it is clearly saying that you need to send your desired capabilities. Okay, I took the wrong one because along with the desired capabilities, you also need to specify that which is the URL. So if you see here, this one, this overloaded function, okay, remote WebDriver URL, remote address, and capabilities. So I will specify the remote URL. I'll again take it. Okay, so you'll have to specify a new URL, guy, and your new URL is your node URL, and of course the capabilities, control space, and close it and put a semicolon. Okay, and your new URL is node control space. All right, now can you think of why am I getting this error? You can see here that I'm trying to create a new URL. Whenever you see such errors, try and understand the errors. These kind of errors probably come from your compiler, because compiler is keeping a check on whatever you're writing in your code, right? So if I take you here, just look at what this is saying. URL cannot be resolved to a type. So first of all, what you'll do, click on it and import URL. You don't have to get this one. You have to get the one from java.net, import it. Now you're again getting this, but on this entire thing, new URL. So this is again coming up from compiler. Let's see what this is saying. Now, unhandled exception type malformed URL exception. So here I'm working with URL. And this URL should be a fully formed URL with HTTP. So if anything is missing, it tends to throw an error. That's the reason it wants me to surround this code with try and catch. So what I'm going to do, rather than just surrounding this line, I'll surround this entire code with try catch. How do you do that? Select your code, right click, surround with try catch. Okay, just remove this auto-generated file. Code block and these extra lines. Okay, control save. And you can in fact delete this one also here. Control save. Now, do you think we're missing anything here? That's what you have to do. You've already set your desired capabilities. So the next thing you'd like to do is call your, any URL, you start working with them, whatever you want to do. So we know other than, invoking your browser, there are a few steps that we always perform. So what are those steps? Those steps are driver.manage.delete all cookies, and then driver.manage.window.maximize. So I'm just writing those few lines which are important for every piece of code. I mean, every application that we write. Okay. Then driver.manage.timeouts. Okay. Dot. Now I'm mentioning implicit wait of 30 seconds. And this is time unit class. Okay. Control space dot seconds. Control space. Now come here. Done. Driver dot manage dot timeouts dot page load. Mention page load as, let's say, 45. Okay. This is time unit class. Control space dot seconds, right? Okay, the script is done. Now, as in these lines are done. Okay. Driver dot get. So let's say I'm opening Amazon.in. http://www.amazon.in, and let's just click on today's deals. Okay. Driver dot find element by dot link text. I'm giving link text because I already remember that Amazon today's deals, the options that we get in the beginning here, Amazon in today's deals. So let's say I want to click on today's deals. So I'm going to inspect that. And since these are links, that's the reason I'm using link text. I'll just take you to today's deals. Okay, can you see here that we've got this text here? Just copy paste it. Control C and double quotes, Control V, dot click. Okay, done. Now my script is done. If I will run this script, that means I'm running the script on my hub, but the Chrome browser will open up on my node. Here in this class, you will see that this is happening on my system, okay? But this is actually happening on node, okay? So let's run this. Right click. And before I run this, let's just make sure that everything is fine at these two windows, on these two windows. So I don't see anything here or here which is, which I can't trust on. Everything is fine on these windows. See, before I execute that script is this. http://localhost, just type this /grid/console. All right. Now, as soon as you give this on your browser, all right, on your address bar, you will see how many nodes have been registered to this hub. Here, you can see only this one because I've registered only one node here. If you will register more than one node, you'll see all the configurations just by typing in this command in your address bar of your browser. Now, another thing. You might be asked that how many instances of different browsers can I open in one go? You can't say as many as you want. This is telling you how many instances can you open in one go. So you've got 5 Firefox, 5 Chrome, and 1 Internet Explorer. Okay? Remember this command. Now let's go to our script. All right. And I would like to run this. See, attempting bidialect session. And this has come up. It's opening Amazon and should click on today's deals also. Now, again, you're looking at this window on my system, as in the screen, but this is actually happening on the node. So let's say your node is another PC. This browser window will actually get opened up on your node system and not on your hub system. Just make sure if this fails by any chance, check your firewall settings. Just switch them off for some time and then test your grid. Till the time your firewall is on, you won't be able to create a grid and execute the scripts. Okay? So that's how your grid works. Now the question arises, I'm just moving ahead with something more, better and advanced. So I won't go to the slideshow because that was the last slide. All right. Now I want you to understand this. This is just one script. What if you want to run multiple test cases in parallel? Because that's the essence of having grid. So you can't do that just by writing your Selenium WebDriver's code. You need somebody else's help. And how do you run your test cases parallelly? By taking help of TestNG, right? If you don't know, or if you haven't gone through my TestNG tutorial, I'll just request you to please go through TestNG tutorial as well. All right. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create two classes, but TestNG classes. They're different classes. How do you create TestNG classes? You need to go to Other. If you've already installed this plugin TestNG here, then select TestNG class and name it as node 1 and finish it off. All right. Similarly, create node 2 also. New, go to Other, TestNG class. You won't get this option until and unless TestNG is installed in your Eclipse. And I'll name this as node 2. And finish. Okay, now you've got these node 1 and node 2. I'll just close this, and what I'm going to do here is I've got a config folder here. All right, I will create another one and I'll name it as new file. I'll say grid.xml. That's how I want to name it actually. Finish. Now here I want to do parallel testing. So how do you do parallel testing? First of all, your architecture, your basic architecture. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take the first line from any of these existing XML files, Control C, close this, and Control V. So that's your DTD. Don't worry, even if you don't remember it, it automatically comes as a warning on your console for the first time when you run your testng.xml. All right. So we start by suite. And you have to give it a name. So let's say I'm giving it test grid. All right. And that's a suite. And in suite, I'd like to create a test. Okay. And you need to give a test. So test node 1. All right. And that's done. And I want to create another test here. And I'll give it a name again. Test node 2. Okay. In every test, you need to have classes in class. Okay, so classes, and you'll say class. Now what I want to do here is I'll first of all expand this, Control A, Control Shift F. Why did I do Control A, Control Shift F? So that it looks better. All right, not messed up. And I always like to see my code properly structured. Delete, delete. And here I'm going to name this name equals, you need to specify your class name and just close it. Now in TestNG, you need to specify the class name along with the package name. So if that's my class node 1, this is the package grid. So here, how will you specify it? Grid dot node 1. Okay, so that's done. Same we are going to do here, classes and class. Okay, name equals, and your name is grid dot node 2. All right, just do this, Control Shift F. All right, now you can see it's structured. Now these are two test cases, but I've still not mentioned that you have to run these tests parallelly. So how do you do that? By having this Control space, you're getting all the options. I want tests. So I've already mentioned here that parallel is equal to tests. I want to run my test cases on node 1 and node 2. Now, remember, these are not two different nodes for me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to mention the same IP address here, but I will run the test cases first on Chrome and then parallelly on one on Chrome and another one on Firefox. So now since I've already done these settings for Chrome, So let me write the code for Chrome on both the nodes. Okay, then I'll change it. But remember, I'm doing this on my system. However, it doesn't mean you can't do it with multiple systems. Okay, you just need to change the IP address. Mention the IP address of the correct node. So we'll go back to test grid and I'll just take this piece of code, Control C. Okay, go to node 1. Here you can't have a main function. You need to specify everything in your test block @test on annotation. So delete, and then I'll also copy paste this. I don't need them to be static, so just go back and say WebDriver. You can specify them as static as well. There's no harm. It's just that otherwise you'll have to make the function also static, because you can't call a static reference in static function or variables in non-static reference and vice versa. Okay, Control Shift O, just open it, Control Save. Okay, that's done. All right, Windows Chrome. So basically I'm doing the same kind of thing. So I'll work on Amazon, and here let's say this is done. String node URL. See, I'm taking the same IP address because I don't have choice. Control Shift O. Okay, I'll do the same here as well. Just format the code. Control Save. Now I'm working with Amazon here. Let's go to node 2. And here, let's work with something else. Let's say I want to open eBay. eBay is slow, so that's going to take time. So let it be something else. I'll take some Indian website. So I've taken this and I'll say I'll take Facebook now. Or maybe not Facebook. I'll say not even Gmail. What else can I take? Let's say yatra.com. I'll just open it. I'm not going to do anything. Or maybe you can fetch the title and print it. Sys out. The title is driver.getTitle. Okay. Control space, Control save, and I'm done. All right. Now this window is going to remain the same because anyway I'm running my test cases on Windows 7 here. Chrome can be changed to Firefox, but I just want to run these two classes on the same browser, and then we'll change the browser, for which we'll have to actually add something to the current window. And I'll show you one more thing. As you run your test cases, see something happens on your node window. So I'll show you this. I'll go to this thing, your grid.xml, and I'll say run as TestNG suite, and I'll open this quickly. You'll see things happening here. Can you see here? Because that's what I'm doing there. And see, both the windows came up almost at the same time. Here Amazon is working, and here I'm working with Yatra. Though Yatra is a bit slow, and here we've almost clicked on today's deals, right? So both of them are working on in parallel. That's what you can achieve using grid. Now, if I go back here, all right, there's nothing wrong. We've got the result. You go to your test output and you can see the result here. Just go to emailable report, okay? And you can see test node 1, test node 2, and we've got the result, right? Now, here I mentioned the IP address of my system. Remember, you have to do this by giving the IP address of your node. So let's say this is node 2's IP address and that's node 1's IP address. Okay. Now I'll show you one last thing, that what if I change this browser from Chrome to, let's say, Firefox here in node 2, for which what I need to do is I'll go back here. I'll go here. I'll quit this. I'll say Control C. What did I do? Control C, or Mac system users just press Command C. Okay. I'll press the upper arrow, okay, on my keyboard, and I'll get this command which I typed in last. What I want you to add is, I want you to add -d WebDriver .𝐤𝐞.driver. Okay. equals wherever your 𝐸𝐸𝐞𝐻 is saved. So I think my 𝐸𝐸𝐞𝐻 is also here. Control C, right click, paste. Okay, backslash 𝐸𝐸𝐞driver.exe and space. And as soon as I press enter, it'll again get registered, right? Enter. Okay, it registered the node and cleaning up all the stale sessions. All right, now if this works fine, everything will work fine. If you see everything is fine on these two windows, everything will run fine here as well. Now I'd go to node 2. I'll change this to Firefox. This one also. Okay, done. Now understand one thing. Though I'm about to run test cases parallelly on these two nodes, but see, every browser has got its own speed. You might see a delay of a few seconds or a few milliseconds in both the browser windows to get opened up. Now, pay attention here. All right, I'll go back again here to grid.xml, run as TestNG suite. Firefox will definitely get opened up, but will take some time, a few seconds delay, because Firefox generally is slower than your Chrome. Okay, it has opened up and it's working. Actually, it has already shown Yatra. Okay, it didn't come up. The screen didn't come up, which is absolutely fine. Okay, now I'll show you the report here. Okay, if you see here, that's node 1 and node 2. And pay attention on the start time for both the test cases. Why is the start time same? Because I started node 1 and node 2 at the same time, right? So the execution started at the same time. However, this browser window took some time to come up because every browser has its own speed. In fact, the applications also, the web applications. Okay, that's all about Grid from my side. Okay, I'll just go back to the presentation and see if we've got anything. No. Guys, that's it from my end in today's class. I hope you enjoyed creating Grid. Grid is very easy. If you've got any question, just put in your question in the comment section. All right. You can also visit edureka.co. I'll just quickly show you this. Go to edureka.co. If you want to look for a Selenium course, let's say, or any other course here, just type in the keyword and press enter. All right. And you'll see the course coming up. If you want to get in the course, just click on the course and you'll see what all is included, what all is not there. You'll see the curriculum and everything. We've in fact added APM and UI Automator viewer here. We've also added third-party tools. So I'll just click here. Okay. So we've added a lot here in the upcoming classes. If you wish to take online classes, you're more than welcome. And you can also go to our home page and check for the reviews. All right. Okay, guys, that's it from my end. I hope you enjoyed learning Grid from me today. I'll see you in the next class. We'll come up with some more exciting tutorials. Till then, bye-bye. Take care. Thank you very much.